experience for me.
I want to talk about the Ashes song.
Oh,
yeah.
Ashes.
Well, I mean, real quick.
song?
Yeah, real quick before you move on to that point.
Sure.
This is another point that I bring up to a lot of my friends who are like, "Oh, I've got so and so producing it." Friends that I've got. I think people need to realize that if the person who's producing this record or engineering it, mixing and mastering it doesn't give a fuck about your band, it's going to sound great in the sense of your levels will be correct. But the problem is how much dedication are they putting in there? How much are they seeing your vision? How much are you guys understanding that they're just trying to give you a little bit of knowledge, something you may not be seeing because you're so in love with the piece of music that you're writing. Yeah. You're not opening yourself up to the fact that there could be something better and there could be something different that could change that whole thing for you.
Nick was really good about being our friend when we had him to be our friend, especially outside of the studio. But when it was in the studio, just looking out for our best interests, but as a business thing, like if I did a take that sounded awful, he'd push stop, he'd listen to it back, or not even, he would just turn and look at me and be like, either, what the hell was that? Not to hurt my feelings, but just like, to give me that, like, dude, that's trash. Yeah. Or he'd be like, you need to do something different, or we're gonna cut this. Not like he wasn't nice about it, but he wasn't but it's what I needed.
Yeah, he was blunt.
Yeah, to the point. There's no sugarcoating it, but right in that line where it's like,
if you shanked it, you shanked it.
He's being a good coach. Yeah. He's being a very good coach. But you said Ashes is your favorite song.
Yes,
that's like the third or fourth iteration of Ashes. That song, when it was first proposed to us, was in crazy time signatures, I think, and it had no heavy parts to it, and then we were like, we're scrapping it, and then it got rewritten, and it was like too heavy, I think, at one point.
Yeah, it had the Mastodon feel, though.
Yeah, it really did. And
I think that song and Helen are vocally your best. Like, I mean, your vocals are good on the record, but I think both those songs, vocally, for you shine in those songs, to me.
You.
For real.
I don't do the clean vocals in Ashes, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
That's actually our drummer and the other guitar player, Mike.
Which is amazing, because to be honest with you, there's a melodic tone there and melody that you guys set in those songs that just for me, when I'm listening to a record, doesn't matter if it's metal, doesn't matter if it's rock or indie, I'm looking for what are you doing to set yourself somewhat apart. And I think listening to other local bands, not a lot of bands understand that. Bring that melody, man.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can be heavy, but bring that melody too. If you're a band that sings and screams, bring that melody. If you're a band that's heavy, bring the fucking heavy. You know what I'm saying? Easy as that.
That's my big thing. Is like I prefer bands like that. Like too heavy for me is. I mean, I respect it. You're doing. There's something for everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like subjective. You know what I mean? But for me, it's really. I love hearing that. I love when a band can kind of like break away and show you what else they can do, and like you get a chance to hear what what some of the other members have to contribute to that.
Absolutely.
And in that song particularly, like that really shines. That and like Dried Meat Saint, Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike.
Who we didn't even know could like do that. And when
he does the chorus, like the main chorus line in that. He's got this really cool scream that we had no idea that was in there, and he just he was trying to show me what he wanted me to do, and I was just like. What was wrong with that?
Just do it.
Do that.
I have a friend. Baby. I have a friend who he was in a band with me, and he feels pretty subjective about his screaming. But he used to send me because he thinks he's funny, and he would send me snaps of when he was drunk, and he would be screaming, and I'd be like, "Bro, why are you not doing this on the record?"
Yeah,
you're joking around, but you're actually pretty fucking decent.
You hit him with the head tilt down.
Exactly.
Bruh.
Yeah,
bro.
Bro.
So this next question is more for Brian. Lyrically, it seems like you tackle a lot of subjects of loss and overcoming in a lot of the songs, and they're very reflective. I'm wondering, how much does this come out from your military background as well as you being volunteer firefighter?
Okay, not at all.
Really?
I don't have a lot of personal drama and strife in my life.
Okay.
So when I first started writing in the band, it was like I was really just struggling to find content. So I was reading mythology, not just like Greek and Roman mythology, but just delving into Nordic and African and even like some Eastern Asian mythology.
He got very into Alex Jones for a while too.
They're turning the frogs, guys.
So I was like Orpheus is just straight up just
that's
what it is. The Helen of Troy, like the song Helen, like that's, you know, it's a direct thing, but that James wrote that about breakup he was going through. Mm-hmm. I don't like to, like, I think if I were to write about my, like, say the firefighter experience,
yeah,
like, you try to just get over that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't like to relive and rethink that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that stuff, it's just, I think, and also I think it'd be like kind of pandering. I don't know, like I don't want to be like
True,
that.
but
Especially
I mean,
the military thing, like that Toby
but I mean,
Keith
Say
type
it.
shit.
Say it. You don't want to be Five Finger Death Punch.
Well, I don't.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though, and this is one of those things that there's a YouTuber I watch that he talks about like what makes bands successful and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he talks about, oh, it's more than just money. But tribalism is one of the things he discussed, and you know, finding, you know, people who relate to you. And I'm not saying it's something you should do, but
sure.
I'm just wondering because, you know, like I said, I did some research on you a little bit and saw those things. So I'm wondering, you know, to me, I mean, anything you have in your life can be, or from somebody else's life. I don't know if you're like me, where you will hear somebody tell a story, you can empathize with them, and then, man, I could totally write a song about that.
I'm not like that at all.
Oh,
that's
wow.
the thing. I'm very dead inside.
I mean,
I'm very dead
It's
inside.
just, everything's very factual. And like, you know, a tragedy happens, and I'm just like, okay, that happened. Like, as a first responder, I go, this is how I'd respond. If it doesn't happen, you know, like across the country, say, you know, like something I can't do anything about, I go, oh, what would I do in that situation as a first responder? You know, I'm never like, oh, what if that happened to me?
I mean, that's a positive of take to have it, because I mean, I'm sure if you lived with everything you've had to do,
I'd drive myself crazy.
Exactly. And then some people need that because too many people, I feel, are mentally damaged by that. Yeah. And that sucks.
I got a good support system too. So like, you know, the few
and that's
occasions,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's the awesome part.
That's the
right
thing.
there.
So the few times in my careers that like I've had something serious happen to me, I was able to quickly identify that I had a problem and then go figure out what I needed to do about it, whether it was talk to somebody about it.
He always comes and hugs me.
That's it.
You can sugarcoat it if you want, but
yeah. But most of the song contents that we write, it come from the other band members. Like we talk about their problems.
Yeah, I was going to say Mike's got a decent amount of lyrical contribution.
Mike's very creative, very insightful, and I'm just like, cool, man. Like I'll work with you. So I assist, but a lot of the content, if it's not from mythology, is not of my own.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Genesis. I don't generate a lot of content. I just
but that's cool. I mean, it seems like everybody in the band kind of has input, because you know, sometimes you're in a band and certain people are just like, the lyrical content you provide, and I'm not really a big fan of. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been in like death metal bands, and I'm just like, they handed me lyrics, and I'm looking at it like, I don't agree with half of this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know.
I don't agree with half of that.
We've had to do that with a couple of the songs that were presented to us by other members of the band. Not to be named in this here interview. But no, there was one time where it was very anti-religious, and I was just like, hey man, like, not for nothing, I'm not the biggest fan personally, but I don't want to alienate anybody. Like,
exactly.
And I don't want to represent us as that. I was like, and then also like, there's only one curse word on the record.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
And I thought about that one too. Like I had words about that one, but at the same time, like,
yeah, you did. Like,
Mike's great in like his realm of creativity. Is it's like, it's not intentionally edgy, but like sometimes it's like it's got a sharp bite to it that you, for me at least personally, like I kind of got to chew on it to be like, For sure. All right, I see where you're coming from. Like, you know what I mean?
So we had another song he written. I changed the lyric because it seemed like there was just a curse word in there for the sake of it being there. It ended up being a better line. This one, it's Dried Meat Saint, right? Elephant Man.
No,
Elephant Man.
Elephant Man. He wrote both those songs. That's why I confused them. Elephant Man.
Interesting name title, by the way.
Oh, gosh.
Dried Meat Saint or
Elephant Man.
Elephant Man. That's Mike's. That's a very,
because I went
song
right to the movie when I heard Elephant Man. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, he wrote that. That's a very personal song to Mike. And so like that's why, because of the content of that song, and it's not really my place to talk about, you know, what he wrote that song about, because that's all him. But that's why I didn't want to push too much on that one line where he says motherfucker. But
it's the same thing with like
how he felt in the moment when he wrote it, and I was like,
he wrote it about his elephantitis. He's got huge balls.
He's got massive balls. Randy,
Oh, God.
Randy Marsh?
Yeah, Randy Marsh. No, that reminds me of someone was talking about the first Perfect Circle album.
Okay.
And the song Judith is the only song in the album when they, drop it, and it's followed by, F Your God.
Yeah.
And, which I'm not okay. I agree with you. Like, it's hard to want to tackle certain subjects and stuff like that. Like,
I have such a solid stance on
exactly.
It.
I have a song with the band I'm in where we talk about, unfortunately, the loss of a child.
That's a
and
heavy hitter there.
Exactly. Certain people like it because it's a very sad thing to happen, but some people feel a little uncomfortable about it because it's a song that
it can be cathartic. Though.
Exactly. Some people it could be hit too close to home too.
Oh, for
you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to disrespect any member of who's coming out to see you.
That's exactly
right.
it. You don't alienate anybody. You're like,
yeah. All right,
we're doing this for them. I'm not in a band for me.
So this next question, Erin kind of already answered, but I just want to know a little bit more about the music on the record itself. Because like I said, there is definitely a more mature tone to what you guys bring. And definitely, I think you guys went for quality versus quantity on this record, for sure. There's definitely some songs here where you can definitely see you guys were thinking ahead. And like you said, these are older songs, but that's cool. You guys had time to take to polish them. Is there anything else you want to say about like that whole process and writing it? Sounds like you had a great fucking producer. I'll say that out loud.
Our producer was
name drop him again.
Awesome. Nick Z is
Nick Z.
That's real GOAT.
Nick Z.
Exactly.
Nick Z sent us. There's no doubt about that. It's kind of, I guess it's a little hard to say because at least the approach on this record was essentially that the guitars came, like the guitars came first, like we would present an idea, either one of us, and then it would build from there, which I guess you might say, like, after we got talking to the producer, is sort of a good and bad kind of thing. But I'm drawing a fucking big old blank.
Yeah, I'm just staring off into space right now.
Yeah. Just like, I got a thought, but it's lost somewhere.
You give me a chalkboard, I swear to God, it's good Will Hunting all day. But outside of that,
no, I mean,
it's tough to say because there's just a lot of contribution. It ends up being like a sweet 5-member gumbo.
So, Brett, our bassist, played guitar in some other bands, so he's got guitar input. I got drum background, so I got drum input. James, our drummer, plays every instrument on the planet, so he just puts in everywhere, lyrically, vocally, guitar, bass, drums, everything.
Yeah, I'm waiting for his one-man solo project.
Oh, he's got one.
He's got an EP.
James Lloyd Garnes,
yeah, he's got an EP. He writes his own acoustic music, and he's in a band that does
awesome.
covers. Like he's in all these music projects. He just doesn't stop. It's like his life. So he's got all these contributions. You know, Erin and Mike are just pumping out riffs and then doing cool things with them together. But then
I'm the only one-trick pony in the band, I think.
No, I was going to say.
Because Mike's doing vocals and stuff, and then
No, but you got ideas for melodies and what to do with the vocals. You're like, I need you to do this. And I'll be like,
I had one idea for a melody.
Oh, come on, man! I'm trying to really build you up here.
Don't pump me up. I'm good. I'm a good one-trick pony.
Exactly.
My one trick is damn good.
It's very good. Absolutely.
But it's at the same time, it's like that's my contribution, and everybody just comes together in such a good way these days. Like it's cool to see the way that things have it's matured. That's what it is.
You're right.
And you're right on that sense, because it does. I think sometimes when you're starting out a new project or you're trying to convey to everyone, it's hard to have a singular vision,
Right?
And everybody be able to contribute to that vision and work like a machine or a car, a well-fined oiled car. And it sounds like you guys did that on this record and found, your great RPM speed, or we
made a big mistake. So when we went into record, that was it. Like we didn't practice, we didn't write for 6 months. It took way longer than it should have, but for about 6 months. And then the record was done, and we were like, let's play a show. And our producer was just like, I know you guys haven't been practicing, like, he
was not wrong.
And so we went into practice, and there was like 3 or 4